wanted this forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early, feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy. Extra.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode podcast to talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. Huge shout out to the people that are currently in the chat. We got Jameson, we got John, Freddie, Michael. What's up, y'all? Appreciate you guys for tuning in. And yes, Jameson. Oh my God, Mythic is here. Yes, I'm going to bring my guy, Mythic AZ, coming up here pretty soon. Just let me do a real quick shout out to the sponsors of the AZ Sports Fan that's being able to bring you this content as much as we're doing it into the 2025 season. Sleeper, if you haven't used them, I highly recommend you do so. I do got a fantasy football league with Sleeper, and you can do anything on there. You can play higher and lower game, right? You can try to build the best roster you can to 100 times your money. Using promo code AZSF gets you a 100% deposit match up to $100 on your initial deposit. Everything will be in the description below. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring up my good buddy here. I call him Justin, but you know him as Mythic AZ. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. Obviously going to be a great week when the Cardinals start 1-0. Your mental health starts off fantastic. You're not losing your sanity off the rip, especially losing to the Saints. So I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Got a new setup in. We're chilling. How's everything going with you?
Good, man. It's really, really good. I know you made the move on over to a different state. How's the weather over there in Texas?
69 degrees today.
Oh,
yeah. When I woke up today at 69 degrees, you'll take that. Right now, currently 83. Hasn't been raining, which is a little disappointing. You guys have been getting rain, though, which,
we have.
Of course, as soon as I move, the weather just starts hitting.
Yeah, I feel that way too when I go on vacation. It's like this storm that comes when in Arizona, and it happens to me too. So it's not just you. Let everybody know where they can find you, man. I know you're going to be very, very busy this Cardinal season, as I am as well, covering the Cardinals. Expectation is pretty high amongst obviously the Cardinal fan base, and you and me included. Tell everybody where they can find you, and you are on the road to 10K as well. But tell everybody where they can find you.
We are on the road to 10K. So on YouTube, go ahead and look me up, Mythic AZ, posting NFL and Arizona Cardinals content. On X, you can find me, I'm Mythic AZ, or Instagram at It's Mythic AZ. TikTok, I believe it's Mythic AZ. So if you guys want to check me out on all 4 platforms, it'd be greatly appreciated as we are on the road to 10K on YouTube.
Love to see it, man. Honestly, it's crazy because there's just so many different platforms now that you kind of have to expand because there's just so many different audiences in every specific platform. So if you are wanting to be a content creator, sometime in your endeavors, I highly recommend you doing so because just there's so many apps, right? There's so many apps. I mean, obviously, me and you are one of the biggest Cardinals specific content creators on this platform. But if you go on to TikTok, they got their own guys, right? Yeah, Twitter, you got their own guys. So it's actually kind of cool to see the different, flavors of what goes on in different platforms. But let's dive into it, man. Let's talk about this game. I don't know if you feel the same way. I mean, obviously a win's a win, and I'm really excited about the Cardinals starting off 1-0 because the alternative would be 0-1. We don't want that. But the Cardinals going to New Orleans expecting, I'm not sure if you were expecting a blowout, but I was expecting maybe a more explosive game for the Arizona Cardinals on the offensive side of the ball. But let me know what your biggest takeaways are in this game a couple days ago versus the Saints.
I think first things first is Will Johnson is everything as advertised. I've been preaching it pre-draft, post-draft, that Will Johnson is going to come in here and just solidify himself. And with Starling Thomas going down, you kind of needed that in week 1. And he came in here, he produced, had the second best coverage grade, 90.3 behind Sauce Gardner. On top of that, 3 passes defended and a robbed interception, which I don't think it was a flag. I don't know what you think, but I don't think Max Melton should have got called for that. Had nothing to do with the play, but Will Johnson, everything as advertised. Also, the offensive line absolutely scares me, especially that right side. Isaiah Adams and Jonah Williams just did not come to produce. You had Froholt, who was pretty average, I would say, and then Evan Brown was solid if you take away the holding calls. Paris Johnson, clearly the best pass blocker for sure. I would say that's not even close. But in the run game, I feel like everybody struggled to get anything going. Kyler playing with a stomach bug, tough to evaluate. But Drew Petzing, also, just it's the things dating back to last season that still concern me. The conservative play calling. If it's 2nd and 12, 2nd and 15, it's just that we're going to take the run, make it 3rd and long, and we're going to take a short pass and punt the ball. It's not play calling to win a football game. It's very conservative. And I'm sure we're going to talk about it in a little bit. I have a literal game analysis that I have where it's second 21, turn third and 23. We have two of them that I can't wait to break down, but Drew
Yeah.
Petzing concerns me. And then Kyler Stomach Bug. I feel like he played okay, pretty like solid to keep us afloat, especially just all things considered. But that way too close for comfort in my eyes, especially coming down to a Jawan Johnson breakup at the end of the game where I thought we were going to overtime, but thank God we did not. So just an overall shaky performance, I think, on both sides of the football. And the defense came in clutch when you needed it. So that's something that I did expect to trend in this season, is that the defense is going to be able to win us some ugly games like this. But it's unfortunate it already starts in week one. But I think there is some positive takeaways from this game. But there were a lot of things you want to see corrected in week two. And I think they're well aware of that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, like we mentioned before, I mean, the biggest thing is that the Cardinals came out with the W, and that's the most important thing. But like things that you said that, you kind of worried about last year, it does kind of stay true to this year as well. I mean, obviously it's just one game, but that right side is still a concern. It was last year, and now it still kind of is this year in the one game sample size we see it in 2025. Jonah Williams, man, I don't know if the Cardinals are just so badly trying to fit a circle in a square hole so darn badly because they paid him as one of the big top acquisitions a few years back. That feels like what they're trying to do. I know when Kelvin Beachum came in his replacement, he played very solid. So like it's hard for me to wrap my mind around. And I'm not trying to say, oh, I know more better than obviously Jonathan Gannon knows more than a podcaster knows, right? But like it concerns me that Jonah Williams has still not been able to be great. Now, I'm going to give a little bit of leeway to Isaiah Adams. I mean, he's still, very, very young in his tenure. I mean, he had a really good training camp. So I'm hoping to believe that this is going to be, step in the right direction. He obviously didn't look that great. Froholt and Paris Johnson is probably the best players on the line, bar none. Now I'm actually kind of really excited to see when freaking Will Hernandez is going to be coming back to hopefully take some sort of spot. But that line did not protect Kyler Murray. Now, 5 sacks is absolutely unacceptable. Now, here's the big question. Is the Saints better than what we all anticipated, right? Like, are we, I'm not going to say blowing out of proportion because I feel like the concerns are valid out there with we should have beat this team better than we actually did. But I guess the big question out there is the Saints better? Now we're going to get that answer, right? Probably in the next couple of weeks because they are going through a tour of the NFC West. I don't know if you know this, but they have the 49ers next. And then they got the Seattle Seahawks in week 3. So let's see what they do versus the other rest of the NFC West. But I think overall, there has been concerns, or I guess big takeaways. You named it, man. Will Johnson. I said that he's going to struggle. Even the great Patrick Peterson struggled at cornerback. But like, it almost kind of feels like, damn, this kid looks freaking legit. Like, good. Like, I don't know. Like, I didn't want to buy into the hype of, oh, he's going to be great in year one, but he's starting to kind of prove me wrong. And I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't think he was going to be the lockdown corner, maybe at the end of this year or maybe next year. But how quick he's starting to make plays on this defense is very, very optimistic. Like, I'm very optimistic about, week 2 and week 3 about what he can bring. Another big takeaway is I'm very surprised that James Conner had a very game. 12 carries, 39 yards. Trey Benson had himself like over a 50-yard game. That's where he got the chunk of that yardage. This offense is still running through Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. No shock there. Let me ask you this real quick. Michael Wilson, Zay Jones, Greg Dortch, supposed to be number 2, 3, and 4 of the Cardinals wide receiving core. They had an accumulation of less than 10 yards amongst all of them. What say you about that tandem? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a thing that has been prevalent for the majority of camp. The things I've been repeating, the things I've been saying in the draft. That hey, if Will Johnson's not there, look, Emeka Buka. Like I was saying, we need somebody who's actually prevalent. And I understand that the offense runs through 18 and 85. Jonathan Gannon's reiterated the same thing over and over and over. But it seems just like a coping mechanism. And we just don't have anybody else. So this is who the offense really runs through. We know it's run first. We're going to hand the ball off to James Conner and Trey Benson, the 2 RB1s, which has been something that has been pretty occurrent. I feel like through a lot of people's mouths. Jonathan Gannon said it, Kyler Murray said it, James Conner reiterated it. Like we are all running back ones in this, or at least him and Trey Benson, not everybody.
Right.
Him and Trey Benson are running back ones. It's something that we've heard echoed. So we understand that it's reiterated that Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride are the 2 people that this offense kind of just runs through in the pass game. But it'd be nice to have some help, or at least somebody else to separate. It's like there's two guys on the field you basically can't look to for the majority of the game because they're blanketed. Like
Yeah.
Zay Jones had one play where he burned over the top, but you were making a 70-yard pass to Zay Jones at that point if you can actually find that on time after the play action, which it's a lot of play action in this offense, I've kind of noticed, which it's okay, but a lot of people are like, hey, the ball should get out right here. I've seen some things on X, and it's just like, well, Kyler Murray's in play action, and that's not the first read. And it's just like, you kind of, I don't know how the offense runs. I don't know who the first read is. So it's tough for any of us to just kind of sit here and just like understand the offense. But I've seen a lot of people kind of plaster that like Michael Wilson was open on one play. And I'm just like, well, he's clearly not looking there. So clearly he's not the hot read. Like it's not the guy you got to make your way around. And like in that moment, he might've been open, but it's not the read. But I'm definitely concerned. I think this is something I've said on this podcast before. And this in the past couple of weeks, whenever I hopped on, is that wide receiver is definitely an issue. And we're going to notice at some point in the season. Now, whether we make a move or not is up to them. I heard a lot of people kind of float out Tyreek Hill. I'm kind of good on that. I don't want any of that in our locker room at this point. Talent-wise, if you can get the talent and the player, just all that ego and all the off-the-field issues and drama that brings to that locker room, then yeah, of course, I would love a Tyreek Hill. But I don't think a lot of people are willing to take that on unless you're like the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Chiefs. But we definitely have a wide receiver problem, I would say. And that's something we've known.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I personally didn't hear the Tyreek Hill thing. It probably very well can be floating around by maybe fans and that want to kind of, because I'm Tyreek Hill and the Dolphins, they look like they're in shambles right now. So I guess it makes sense for him to potentially want to request a trade out of there. But like, I don't know, like if the Cardinals did something like that, I mean, of course, we'll have to kind of wait and see how it all shakes out. That does bring a drama on its own that I don't think is necessary in this locker room. But it also, at the other side of the coin, like, that would kind of upset me and frustrate me because like we were talking about the wide receiving core for so long this whole offseason, and it's just not Emeka Mbuka, which had a crazy week one, you know, with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had a really good debut for them. I was also talking about, you know, Matthew Golden as well, right? Other wide receivers that the Cardinals potentially could go for. Now, the Cardinals did go a different direction and they went after Walter Nolan, which we're not going to come out here and say, oh, he's not a bust. He just got hurt, right? We want to see what he can do when he comes back. We're hoping by week 5, week 6, week 7, he comes back and can show why it was a first round pick. But like the biggest concern on the offensive side of the ball was the wide receiver number 2. Like, are we going to be able to get a guy that's going to be a playmaker? And like, I'm not saying it's all the wide receivers like fault. Like, I like Michael Wilson, I really do. I like Zay Jones. I mean, he was a first round pick at one point. I mean, he had some pretty good seasons here and there. And then Greg Dortch, we know he plays bigger than his size. He's a dog, but like, I don't know. I don't find this acceptable. Like 1 reception, 5 yards, 1 reception, 4 yards, 1 reception, -2 yards. Like if you really want to get this offense to the level that you think that you can get to, and that's Kyler Murray obviously throwing it around to every, you know, weapon we got. And I'm not even expecting Michael Wilson 100-yard games. I'm expecting Michael Wilson 30, 40 yards a game, like is what I'm expecting. That's just so far unacceptable to me. Now, granted, if you look at Kyler Murray's stat sheet, he was 21 for 29, 163 yards. So that 163 can only be divided so many different weapons that you got, right? So I don't know. It is a concern to me, the wide receiving core. Do I think it's all their fault? No, I don't. But at the other side of the coin, if the Cardinals do go after a wide receiver, it's just you probably should have considered getting one in the draft. That would have been a lot cheaper than going the direction of this. I don't think they will get Tyreek Hill personally. Like, do you really think they will?
I don't either. No. Yeah. I just saw him floating around in rumors that he's going to get traded, which I thought he was going to get traded in the offseason. I thought he was going to get traded last year. I just want to see it done. I'm so sick of seeing that in general. But I don't know. It's just like the offense. I guess our offense just isn't fit for, I guess, receivers, which is why people were anti-Marvin Harrison Jr. But it's just like,
that doesn't make sense.
Like it doesn't make any sense why you would be anti-Marvin or anti-receiver. I mean, Drew Petzing just doesn't have involvement for wide receivers. I mean, it is what it is for some reason, and that's just kind of like what we're content with. And I don't know. It just seems like there's like a clash, like the way our defenses ran versus everything else. It's just like, I don't know. It's frustrating at times because Kyler has a talent to spread the ball. We've seen it when we had Christian Kirk, we had Larry Fitzgerald, we had DeAndre Hopkins. The ball was getting spread. We had Dan Arnold looking good. Like
Oh, God.
Kyler's clearly been able to make people look good and elevate the talent. It's just like now you're putting him in a scheme where he's under center, play action. We were running a lot of 3-back sets too, with like a tight end, or I guess
Yeah.
double tight ends rocking fullback with a running back in the backfield with 2 wide receiver split. So it's just like you had that formation, which is interesting, and it's always a play action coming out of it, like every single time, or it's a run. So it's just very fascinating, I guess, to watch the Drew Petzing offense because it's not like something you see everywhere else. I will say that for sure. It's definitely
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I don't know. Like I remember watching the Chargers game when they beat the Chiefs. Hallelujah for that. Like I'm so glad they beat the Chiefs. On the primetime game that we just saw, I heard the announcers. Now, obviously, I don't cover the Chargers, so I really don't know the scheme. But I did hear them say that Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball. Like that's what they want to do. And like I'm looking at, and here's the thing. Obviously, each game is differently, right? But like any other run heavy team that I can think of out there that wants to be some sort of playoff contending team, like I'm seeing this ball getting floated around to multiple different receivers, and it's not like what I'm complaining about is the one reception 5 yards. I will take 2 receptions 20 yards at this freaking point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is my biggest concern here because I'm looking at Justin Herbert. Like, he's spreading the ball around, and they're like, oh, they're supposed to be a run heavy offense. Like, that's what they're trying to do. And then Quentin Johnson, 79 yards, Lamb McConkey, 74 yards, Keenan Allen, veteran, which I think you were probably jumping on a soapbox on the offseason as well on, including myself, 7 receptions, 68 yards. Like, there's just the involvement of moving the ball around in any other offense but besides the Cardinals is crazy to me. Like, it just doesn't make sense that we're living in a world that people are accepting 1 reception, 5 yards. And this is not just week one. It's been happening last year as well for the
Yeah.
other guys, not Marvin.
Yeah. Can we also talk about Marvin Harrison Jr.? And I
Yes.
believe it was the second quarter
Yeah.
having massive involvement. And it's just like the offense just completely shies away from him. Like, I
Yeah.
just don't understand. Like, I don't know. Like the Drew Petzing offense is definitely something. It
Yeah.
just seems like it just shies away from the good and then just sticks to the principles. And then I saw a lot of people actually defending this, the conservative play calling, where it's like second and long or whatever. You just play to punt basically. And that's just like, it's such a loser mindset. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care if we're on the 35-yard line or on their 35-yard line or our 35-yard line. I don't care where we are, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. Like, if you're not going for it at some point, you're not being like semi-aggressive to convert, then why are you doing it at all? We saw Trey McBride pick up a massive, I believe it was
Yeah.
third down. Marvin Harrison pick up a crucial third down. Just like actually go for it. Stop being conservative. Like, actually grow a pair of balls and go for it. I don't understand what we're doing. It's like genuinely frustrating watching this
Yeah.
team go out there and kind of just S the bed. Like, what are we doing? Like, it
Well,
gets to a point where you gotta evaluate, and Drew Petzing's
yeah.
kind of just had this sense of just like non-urgency. I don't understand that whatsoever because the rest of the team feels like we have that fire. Like Jonathan Gannon has a fire, Nick Rallis has a fire, and Drew Petzing is kind of just holding back this offense of players. Like, I understand we want to run the ball and smash mouth, smash mouth, smash mouth, but the pass game is just so irritating to watch because it's non-existent. And if you're
Yeah.
not winning the game and you're not ahead, this offense isn't built for that. You're not built for the trail. So if we're not ahead early, we're kind of just out of the game. So that's kind of where I'm at. If we're not winning the game, if we're not winning early, we're not winning the game. That's kind of
Yeah.
where
I
I'm
mean, that's fair to say.
There's
I
what it
know
feels like.
Jonathan Gannon, I think I'm not sure if it was the post-game presser or it was the one on Monday, but I think somebody asked about that, and he ended up coming out. Now, this is one specific moment, right? I'm not saying he does this every time, but he did say at one specific moment, like I think it was during the time where he wanted to kind of like bleed out time. He did say to run the ball when it was like second and long, and that's the problem. Like I do feel exactly the same way. Whenever there's like a penalty right on the Cardinals, like a holding call, and we're like behind the chains, like first and 20, first and 15, second and 15. The next play is almost 99.9% of the time going to be a run. It's like we're trying to break out a draw play. We're trying to get a run, try to gash as many yards. It almost makes me believe like I really want to get the answer. And we're not going to because I know this coaching staff is not going to provide it to us. But I'm very getting to the point that like I'm wondering if they don't believe that we can or why risk the ball, right? Why throw the ball when they don't believe in it? I don't know. Like I feel deep down that this Cardinals organization doesn't believe we're going to be able to get it. So they're going to say, "Oh, we're just going to." And it is a loser mindset. It really is. It's a loser mindset. Like they don't believe that we can get these chunks, so they're just going to be willing to say, "Okay, you're 2nd and 20, you're 2nd and 15, run. Like, we just gave up a drive because we're not being aggressive, and it is frustrating. But I'm getting to the point where I'm like, does this coaching staff truly believe that we can get those big chunk plays? I don't know if they do. Like, I don't know if they do. What are your thoughts on that?
It doesn't feel like it. At the very minimum, it doesn't feel like it. I don't know why. Because it's like the offense that consists of Paris Johnson Jr., Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, James Conner, Trey Benson. You would think you'd just go for it at some
Uh,
point. Like, that's a lot of talent to pick up 20 yards, even if it's 1st and 20 or 1st and 15, 2nd and 15, wherever you are. Like, it's enough, I feel like. You have talent. Trey McBride is a guy who can easily pick up 15 yards by himself on a singular play, putting him in the right spots. Marvin Harrison Jr. can pick up 10. He can pick up 15. I mean, he caught a 41-yard pass on a deep bomb. Like,
yeah.
we got the offense. If you want to run the ball in first, so be it. You know what I mean? So be it. But outside of that, not going for it, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Like, I
Yeah.
understand you doing it sometimes because, yeah, you want to pick up a chunk of that back. That's fine. But it's just like, it feels like it's run, short pass. And it's just, okay, cool. Now it's 4th and 8. Let's punt the ball.
Yeah.
And we're just content with that. So I don't know. It is that loser mindset. We're 1-0, and it seems like we're just harping a lot, but like,
Yeah.
we won. So, but like, it's just like these things got to be talked about because it's like, if it shows and it's prevalent in the like losses that are really close that hurt the most, and we're giving up 2 drives, like, it's gonna bug everybody. It's gonna bug every single person. Like, why didn't Drew Petzing just go for it on first and 20? Why were we just so passive and just willing to punt the football? What was the play calling? Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely concerned.
I'm glad you actually brought that up because you're right. We did win, right? It does seem like we're having a conversation about the Cardinals being 0-1, and that's not the case. The only reason I think why we're talking about it, making I want to say making a big deal out of nothing, because I do think this is something, because this is a trend that we've already been seeing for years. Like, this is not just one game, and we're like, oh, this has been a trend for years. That's why we're talking about it. But let's talk about some positives, right? We already mentioned Will Johnson having himself a good game, and I'm kicking myself saying, damn, I probably should have said he's going to be good from the jump. I didn't think that, but Marvin Harrison Jr. Coming into his own to being that wide receiver and number one, the first target for Kyler Murray, at least the wide receiver. He had wide receiving core. He had 5 receptions, 71 yards, and I do think he probably could have had more on yardage, but he had himself a game, man. Specifically, that one play that I really want to talk about is when Kyler Murray had this great throw to the sidelines, and you almost kind of saw, Larry Fitzgerald-esque, where he looked to the top, right in the breadbasket. Man, it was a really good catch and throw by Kyler Murray, and it almost kind of shows, okay, this is what Marvin Harrison Jr. was working on, the physicality, the being able to get those contested catches, right? And he's got a touchdown under his belt to start the season as well. What is your overall thoughts on Marvin Harrison Jr.? Was all the hype real in training camp? Let me know what your thoughts are.
I think all the hype's been real since his rookie season. I think he put up a good rookie year, and I think the hype continues. I think he put on the weight for a reason. Those 50-50 jump balls, coming back to the football and those comebacks, he's going to have strong hands now. He has 11 more pounds to work with. I think all the hype is warranted. I genuinely do. I think the connection between him and Kyler is clearly, evidently better. I think we can all agree on that. The timing seems to be better. Obviously, they misconnected on one where Marvin seemed to cross and Kyler thought he was going to go upfield. The DB knocked him off his route. Kurt Warner talked about it. It was just unfortunate. Kyler was anticipating something and Marvin got knocked off the route. But outside of like that play that a lot of people are harping on, I think it was fantastic week 1 for Marvin Harrison Jr. personally. I like what I'm seeing.
Marvin looks good, man. Obviously, Trey McBride's going to continue to be fed. There's a couple drops by Trey McBride, but we're not going to make a big deal of it. I mean, this guy's usually a reliable tight end for Trey. I'm sorry, for Kyler Murray, and it shows with the numbers still: 6 receptions, 61 yards. And like I said, I mean, he probably would have had a bigger game if the ball was thrown a lot more in the second half. I believe I saw something out there that Kyler Murray was like 140 yards, 2 touchdowns in the first half, and in the second half, he was like less than 40 yards. It's weird. It's crazy. It might be one of those things because we were behind the chains with some penalties, and because we are behind the chains, run, as opposed to throwing the ball and allowing it to fly. Whatever the reason is, Kyler Murray had a clean game, did not allow the ball to turn over, no fumbles, no interceptions, anything like that. And that's definitely something to hang your hat on. Let me talk about this real quick, and then we'll move on to Drew Petzing. What are your overall thoughts on the defensive line? I honestly was expecting a little bit better. I'm talking about our defensive line. Second year of Darius Robinson, Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson. I thought Calais Campbell had a really good start of the game in terms of the run defense, but the pressure, the harassing Spencer Radler, I feel like I thought it was going to be leaps and bounds better. What are your overall thoughts on that?
I would agree. I think we were able to get pressure, but it's clear the Saints' game plan was just quick intermediate. And towards the end, especially our D line at the end, when Spencer Rattler kind of realized, hey, let's run the hurry up, we couldn't get Calais Campbell rotated out of there. That
He was
sucked.
wheezing.
He was gassed. That was awful because as soon as Spencer Rattler was like, hey, let's just go ahead and get that hurry up going, and things kind of got a little hectic because
Yeah.
the D line got no pressure outside of that. You can't get him off the field, and Spencer Rattler's kind of wheeling and dealing, getting the short intermediate plays. It got ugly real quick, and we were this close to potentially going to overtime or potentially losing the game if they go for two. Glad that didn't happen. Let me tell you, just nice to end the game right where it ended. But the D line, I don't know. I'm pretty iffy. I think Calais Campbell, once Walter Nolan comes back, is going to be a lot better. That's going to be very nice to actually have another body in there where Calais Campbell can actually come in on those limited snaps. I feel like Calais Campbell played way too much for my liking, but I guess it is what it is. Like, it's a week one dub, very ugly, but I did expect more pressure.
Me too.
I'm not going to lie. Like, it felt like the edges weren't really fantastic. Josh Sweat was okay.
Yeah.
I think Birch had 3 pressures, which is really impressive. He was third in rookies, I believe, in pressure behind Carter and somebody else. So that's nice to see. Is Jordan Birch's production in preseason continuing? BJ Ojolari, whenever he comes back, that'll be nice too. But I definitely want to see more pressure on Bryce Young. Like, it's just one of those games where we know what the Panthers are a little bit. We have film on them, and they struggled. That offense struggled. And with a big body in the middle and Calais Campbell to shut down the run, I think if we can shut down Chuba Hubbard, things are going to get kind of ugly for Carolina. And I'm pretty confident in that. So I think we can actually flood Carolina. And this is a game where on paper we know who they are versus who the Saints were. We still don't know who the Saints are. The Panthers, it seems like they're just a continued version of last year. The Saints,
Right.
I feel like their defense solid, and thank God they went away from Alvin Kamara. Like, Alvin Kamara was killing us very early on, and they just kind of went away with that and let Spencer Rattler pass the ball 47 times. Thank the Lord. But I hope to see a little bit more in week 2. I want to see a dominant win.
That was pretty weird in terms of why they made that switch. Talking about the edge rushers for the Cardinals, they were getting pressure. It's just it almost kind of feel like what was lacking the most. Now, I think the edge rushers, if they took a certain angle or a different angle here and there, they probably could have gotten them because they were close a couple times. It was the interior guys that weren't able to get that push because they allowed Spencer Rattler to step up and just those quick throws that we just couldn't get. But we were literally a second or two or maybe a millisecond from getting them down and bringing them down. It's just the interior pressure for me was where the bigger concern to me is. And then I'm actually very surprised. I saw the snap counts here from the football guys. I ended up seeing that Dalvin Tomlinson only played 33% of the snaps. And then Calais Campbell's 44% of the snaps. Dante Stills actually beat both of them with 45% of the snaps, which is actually pretty interesting. Now, when Walter Nolan does come in, we probably do see a lot of the older guys get a little bit less with those young guys coming in here to rejuvenate this D-line. Darius Robinson didn't really do very much for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I resaw the film in a few plays. He just doesn't seem like he's got the bull rushing ability. Now, only week 1. Let's see what he does in week 2. But I really want to see a little bit more from Darius Robinson. But for the sake of time, let's move on over to Drew Petzing real quick, because that's been a big talking point amongst Cardinal fans. Thoughts on Drew Petzing? What is your thoughts? I know we all talked about this is a big year for Kyler, a big year for Drew, a big year for this organization. For one game sample size, what are your overall thoughts on Drew Petzing?
I guess they're the same as I've had. Just not a fan.
Okay.
I'm really not a fan. Like, the principles, I like them to an extent, but like the whole I'm wiping the playbook, Jonathan Gennings saying we're taking it and just completely changing it basically, or we're bettering the playbook. It doesn't feel like we added anything but a lot of motion. And that motion has led to our starting receivers with -2 yards, I believe 5 and 4. So what, 7 yards total, if I'm not mistaken, between our starting 3 receivers or our rotation of 3 receivers outside of Marv.
Yeah.
No involvement. The run game, obviously your players got to show up for the run to get dominant. But outside of Trey Benson's run, we didn't really have much. And we ran the ball 27 times. 27 times. Kyler passed the ball 29. I don't think Kyler wanted to pass the ball 30 times in a game where he had the stomach bug. I think he wanted to come in here, control time of possession, just gash him with a run, and just coast through the game. Instead, you kind of have to have Kyler be ready. And he took a shot early on, too.
He did. Cameron
I think
Jordan.
I kind of woke him up a little. Yeah, he took a
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
And then he took that shot off the edge too, where he rolled out and was met with somebody. He actually rolled out twice and was met unmatched to the corners twice. Just I don't think that's the kind of game plan you want when your quarterback is dealing with a stomach bug. That is just unfortunate, and you kind
Yeah.
of just got to eat it. And you know, I mean, you already know getting hit by these NFL players can't feel good. Now imagine when
Yeah.
you're sick and your body's aching and you just feel like absolute dog ass.
Yeah.
That's gotta suck because he
Yeah.
got railed 5 times.
Yeah, he got hit pretty good on that one, and I really looked at the film. It was just a miscommunication. I believe the way that the tight ends were going on. I think it was Tip Ryman that was supposed to cover him, but the way that Trey McBride almost kind of got in the way was just a clear shot, and because he rolled out on his side, it was literally a straight shot. He didn't have to bend or anything like that. It was just like boop right there. Right when he turned
Yep.
around, he got he got met with Cameron Jordan there, unfortunately. But I mean, overall, I mean, the Cardinals won, so I think we got to celebrate the win where we can get the win. Do you think the Saints are a better team than we anticipated, or B, better than the NFL has them ranked? Because they're saying top 5 in the NFL draft.
I think there's just not film on him, which makes him tough. You don't
Fair.
really have NFL film on Spencer Rattler. You don't know what the game plan is. I think they are very sneaky with defensive coverage. Jonathan Gannon was raving on it all the time. They are a tough defense to beat,
Yeah.
and just the way they call the game. And it was very obvious on film. If you rewatched it, it was very obvious watching the game that they came in here with a good game plan. Are
They
they able to
did.
game plan against the 49ers who might miss Brock Purdy and George Kittle? That might be a win for them. And I guess we'll really kind of gauge how good they are based on next week because we'll actually be able to kind of tell and veer that out. But I don't know. It's tough to make an evaluation after week one. I'm
Right.
not confident in the Panthers because a lot of the things we saw last year are kind of staying the same, I guess. Now you just add a 6'5" receiver.
Yeah.
Like it's not much has changed for them. So I kind of think I understand what the Carolina Panthers are. The Saints, I had no clue, but they had Spencer Rattler, so I wasn't really worried. They put up 13 points, so I guess everything kind of stayed true. And the defense might be a little better than anticipated. And if
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler gets comfortable and they start to trust him a little more, then they could be okay. We'll see, though. They have talent. They have weapons.
They
Raheed
do.
Shaheed, Brandon Cooks, Chris Olave, if he stops dying on the field and getting popped every 2
Seriously.
seconds, would be fantastic. They have Kelvin Banks, that offensive line. They missed Trevor Penning. They missed Chase Young. Like, they were missing people, and they only lost by a touchdown. So I really don't know. It's a tough team. Do you think they're better than anticipated, or do you think it was just week one, we had no film?
Right now on Tuesday, I'm gonna choose to believe they were a better team than we anticipated. Because I think the biggest question mark when you're looking at their roster. Now they did have some guys missing on the offensive line, which that's why I thought the defensive line of ours was going to eat because of that reason, but that was not the case. But I think that literally their depth chart or their actual roster is actually pretty solid. I mean, you named all their wide receiving core, and even their tight end is sneaky good. He's not an
Oh, yeah.
all-star, he's not a superstar, but he's a very reliable tight end, with the exception of that one play that could have taken him to overtime and he dropped it. But that's just a good play by the Arizona Cardinals. So, I mean, overall, man, I think that I'm going to choose to believe that that team is better than people are anticipating. And the biggest unknown question mark is Spencer Rattler. If he can play like he did, they might win more games than people anticipate. I'm not going to say they're going to be a playoff team, but they might be a better team and win more. They're definitely not going to be the first overall if they continue to play that way. Like they seem pretty darn good on Sunday. For me, Drew Petzing, the leash is getting shorter, really, really short. Here's the thing: most people are already coming at you, and whether it is all Drew Petzing's fault or not, you got to evolve. You got to evolve from what you're doing. We're still seeing the same shit every Sunday, and that's what's pissing me off more than anything. Specifically, I don't mind that we're a run heavy team. I really don't. I think he's got one of the
I
best
agree.
run offenses in the NFL. The problem is the passing game. How can we not figure that out? Like that's what I'm frustrated with when it comes down to passing. So the leash is a lot shorter with me now. Although I'm not the guy that wanted to fire him last year, but it's getting to the point where this is a big year, man. Start evolving. It's gonna happen here. It's gonna hit you pretty good, especially if the offense can't get going. Last
100%.
thing, tell everybody else where they can find you again before we close up shop.
YouTube Mythic AZ on the road to 10K. I believe we're at 9.05. We are on the road just at 9,000. You can find me on X at iMythicAZ, Instagram it's Mythic AZ, and TikTok it's Mythic AZ as well. Would appreciate if you guys check me out. We post Arizona Cardinals NFL content. Like I said, on the road to 10K. Let's get it.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Another shout out here to Sleeper using promo code AZSF. Get you your first initial deposit match up to $100 by using the promo code AZSF. All the information will be in the description below. Check out Sleeper if you can. All right. Mythic. I'm gonna call you Justin. That just feels better. All right, Justin. Appreciate you for chiming in, man. I absolutely do. I'm gonna be going on your channel as well. We're probably gonna have a different conversation, so make sure you check that out. All right, y'all guys. Have a great rest of your day. And as always, go Cardinals.